less than 2 decades, Mork have gone from a side project to one of Norway's most highly regarded black metal outfits. But you only have to look at the volume and the quality of their back catalogue to understand why. Thomas Eriksen presented his 6th full-length album, Dypet, 5 days ago, and I'm excited to welcome Thomas to MetalTalk to discuss this icy blast of sensational Norwegian black metal in more detail. Welcome, Thomas.
Thank you very much. It's humbling to hear those words. Thank you very much.
Oh, well, our Jules Green from MetalTalk, yeah, she loves all your stuff, and she's been educating me over the last 3 years. So I'm slowly catching up. Some musicians churn out similar sounding releases, but the thing that's always impressed me is that your music constantly evolves and changes sound-wise. Is this a conscious effort to improve and vary the sound, or is it more to meet the mood of the finished project you have in your mind?
Oh, yeah, let's see. That is a result of myself basically leaving behind every traditional black metal rules or expectations. That's basically it. If you listen to my first album and all the way chronologically up to today, you can hear that it's like opening up influence wise. While the first album is a bit strict black metal, primitive, and I'm just keeping everything within the limits, you know what I mean, of black metal, the true stamp and all that. But over the years I decided that I want Mork to have its own voice, and I do believe I have made the right choice by doing it this way. It seems like it. The band has longevity, obviously, and each release seems to get bigger. And I don't know, it's been a crazy journey, but only over like 10 years, so it's been quick as well.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's impressive and creative. Yeah, that's one of the words I had written down. Yeah, because obviously you're a very creative person. With Dypet, I hope I've got the pronunciation correct there. You delved into the world of analog synths. Was this to get to the sounds that you had creatively in your head, or was it something that came around because you were experimenting with the synth?
Regarding the title, first and foremost, Dypet is pretty good. It's Dypet.
Right.
I saw somebody the other day doing an online review of the album, calling it Diaper, and it was like, Norwegian crash with English. Every time there's something.
Yeah, I apologize for my pronunciation. I'm just I'm just a lad from the Norfolk coast, yeah, who grew up in a little English village, so we didn't even get French lessons there,
The thing is, it's all my fault, and I'm the only one to blame, sir. So no worries. Regarding the synth, what happened is actually when I did my podcasts, which I did for a couple of years. I went to visit Snorre Ruck, the man behind Thorns, very creative and legendary Norwegian musician as well. And he actually was all into analog synths, and his entire living room space was covered in old analog synths and cables and whatnot. And I thought that was kind of interesting, because analog is, of course, an attractive thing, and I grew up with old video games and that stuff, old Nintendos and Ataris. So the sounds has always been with me somehow. But the funny point is that when I came back from that trip and I continued the production on my album, and then the day came where I brought it to a different studio, to a guy who helps me to mix my albums, Freddy Horn. And just by coincidence, he also has gotten this urgent fascination for analog synths. So at that time he had a bunch of them, and I was like, let's just try some stuff here and there. So that is basically what happened. It's all by chance and coincidences. And it's not much of it on the album. If I think about it, it's perhaps on 3 tracks.
Mm-hmm.
It's most prominent on the final track, Tillbaka
Yes.
till Prinsen, where it has its own role, you know, its own voice. And I think when we did that and I listened back to it, I must admit I was a bit skeptical, you know, because there's a lot of naysayers out there that's scared about, you know, people dabbling too much with the black metal formula, you know. But
Right.
I think this one just became even deeper in sound and atmosphere. So I'm really happy about it. And it seems like most people have taken a liking also of those who have heard it this far, you know.
I mean, you know, in the realms of classic metal, you can go back to the likes of Iron Maiden in the 80s, yeah, who used to have no synths on their album covers, you know. But the way that you've layered it in the 3 songs, yeah, it really adds a rich, haunting quality. Jules wrote that it gave her an unnerving eeriness and roundness to the still icy mood of the Mork sound.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
And the album, I mean, it's absolutely just full of atmosphere. The opening track, Indre Demona, is wonderfully haunting. With your use of Norwegian lyrics, yeah, which is the language of black metal. Is that a conscious decision to force people to make up their own minds about the lyrics and the meanings behind your songs?
To put it like this, I feel that on the sideline, I'm a bit of a poet because I write all my lyrics separately without any music in mind, usually, and then those things fall into place later. So I am absolutely able and capable of writing English lyrics pretty well, but it does not give me the same feel and atmosphere as the Norwegian words I write. It's a bit more romantic in a way. And you know, there's big Norwegian poets from back in the days, and which has beautiful works and words, you know. And I think what really happened is that back in the day when I discovered black metal for myself, and you know, I've always been into Burzum and Dark Throne. Those have been the 2 big ones for me, and in particular their Norwegian songs. And I remember reading their lyrics, and it felt like old Norwegian poems from deep within the library. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that is something I decided to take with me into Mork. And every single album is in Norwegian with Mork now. I have 1 track that's in English, and that's B-side hidden away somewhere.
Right. Okay. I mean, that track is a really good opener. I love the dark guitar-driven sound that you've got. You know, I mean, you play all the instruments on the album as well, don't you?
Absolutely, yes.
Hoy Mura too, yeah. With Chelvik's additional vocals, you know, that's another great song as well. How did you come to get involved or get him involved with that particular track?
That happened also via and because of my podcast, actually, because he reached out to me to promote his then debut solo album, which is called Jelvik, great Viking rock metal album. And then we met up, did the podcast thing, and then we just stayed in touch. And you know, most people, at least in Norway, know of Kvelertak, the band. You know, they did quite good business back in the day, and I always kind of liked his voice because he has this raw, punkish, rockish feel to his grim vocals, which I have enjoyed. And now, as I had him just on the phone, a message away, I could just ask him, "Do you want to do something together?" You know, and I basically only sent him that part he's singing with my lyrics, and he did his vocals at his studio and sent them back to me. And I thought it lifted the track. You know, it's a funny thing is that you know, in Norway we have different dialects, as you do over there, and his dialect is different than mine. So when I got the track back with him singing my words, it was a bit puzzling because I didn't think about that. So that's a cool little experience for me as a Norwegian.
Yeah.
But the track turned out great. It has a Bursum-ish vibe, at the same time being, I don't know, like an epic rock anthem in a way. Maybe my mind is just I don't know, all over the place, but that's how I see it now.
I mean, I was thinking, you know, the first time I listened to that song, yeah, with the, you know, with the decent headphones on, like the last minute of that song, yeah, if you imagine yourself sitting there in a darkened room listening to it, yeah, we're talking like horror movie scary, aren't we? You've got that kind of rolling guitar part which goes on, which could just be a happy bit, yeah. But in the context of everything else that's going in, you know, it's just like really sinister.
The track actually is a bit of a Norwegian anthem because it's I don't know if you read the translations to the lyrics and stuff, but it is very patriotic. And when you listen to the main riffs there, the epic riff part, that's, you know, it's Høye murer, it's translated to tall walls, you know. It's like the big mountains and valleys and, you know, keeping the enemies out in a way. That's basically, in short, what the track is about, and the feel of it, you know.
And you mentioned you're into poetry as well. Can you talk about or give us some idea of your songwriting process? Does it change from album to album? Does it start with the lyrics, or does it start with guitar parts?
I would say, as I told you, lyrics and music are written, you know, separately in a way. So the lyrics are, and the music for that sake, it's all coming out of me spontaneously when I'm creating them. It's not something I'm planning or anything. Usually I sit down with one riff in the studio and I just write the entire song just by feel after listening to the first riff. And usually a track is finished maybe during one evening, or sometimes 2 or 3, but not much longer than that. And most of the vibes in both music and the words are actually based on my own life and feelings and, you know, experiences since the last album process, you know. And so it's extremely personal stuff, and it's almost like chapters of my life, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good way of putting it. Good way of putting it. You just released a video for Forfort av Kulden.
Yes.
I mean, that had to be in black and white, really, didn't it?
Yeah. The previous video we did with that same director actually was in color. So and this time around we had a bit short time because we were pushing deadlines and stuff. So I actually never had the opportunity to show up at his studio to overlook his work or anything. I just went to the shoot and didn't see anything until it was finished, basically. So making it black and white and harsh and the way he did is completely his idea, and I'm totally happy. I think it worked out really well. It's tasteful, if you ask me. So,
yeah, it's I love the drone footage, yeah, going through the treetops and things like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what really gripped me watching that was just how great that's going to sound live.
Yeah, that's a live track for sure. We are going to debut that this weekend, I suppose.
Okay, cool. Stretching my pronunciation a bit further, Till Back Till Opera Nelson.
Yes.
Yep, I love that one too. For me, it's like a panicked feeling of chaos in the first half. Yeah, you've got the little bits of synth going on there. But then I love the way the riff kicks in at the halfway point, yeah, and the way you kind of layer the guitars on top there, yeah, that's really cool to listen to. There's plenty of ear candy going on there.
Thank you, and that song represents me quite well. You have you have the traditional blast beat, black metal stuff. You have the vibe, and then you have the mid-tempo part that just grooves in the middle. That's very typical of my songwriting and me. And the track itself is supposed, if I did it right, that it's supposed to be an epic. It's about the world just looking at what it's become, just growing tired of the shit it has shaped over the thousands of years, erasing itself and rebuilding from scratch. That's basically the theme of the song and the lyrics. So it is a journey and kind of cinematic listen. You have to listen to the whole thing, and maybe even read the words if you're able to,
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I had down on my list was to check out the words afterwards. Yeah, I thought I'd rather speak to you and give you my impressions first. Yeah,
Cool.
I love the bass in there too. So right towards the end, you've got the high octave bass going on, and then the last few seconds, there's the rundown with the guitars, and it's an epic song, and it's a really epic finish as well.
It's quite funny you mentioned the bass, because the other day I heard that Fenris, he has a Norwegian podcast now where he recommends music and stuff, and he pulled out a Mork track, not this one, but from the EP that came out last year. And then he commented that he got some Uriah Heep vibes from the bass playing and stuff. And that's a great compliment, because I'm not a child of the 70s because I was born in the 80s, but I am a fan of the 70s. And bass-driven music is really important to me. And you can hear that in almost every single Mork song, that the bass has a prominent role. And to me, the bass is almost the most important part. Of course, the guitar riffs are important, but if the bass behind it is boring, then you got nothing going on. So I would give a big shout out to the 70s bass players, for inspiring me to do that stuff.
No, that's a view I heartily endorse as well. So I do play a bit of bass badly now and again, and that's the thing that people dance to, isn't it?
You got to keep down the low frequencies, my friend.
I mean, the last song, yeah. I mean, it's not just the last song, yeah, but it's kind of the epicness of it. Yeah, I was thinking that's a lot for one person to carry in their head. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So the album's been out. I just picked some tracks there. The album's been out 5 days now. What's the reaction been from the fans?
The thing is that while working on the album for the past couple of years, and when I was closing in on having 8 selected tracks, and listening to the rough mixes, listening to the mix, listening to the masters, I've been walking around with a bad feeling in my stomach that I have stepped a bit too far away from what maybe is expected of Mork or black metal in general. So to be honest, I kind of expected this to be a bit of a flop. So when I started seeing the reviews and the feedback from the listeners, I got floored, because it's been nothing but positive, and it's like top ratings. I did really not expect that. So it's been a great weekend for sure. I can you can trust me on that. It's a good feeling, and it's a part of me, and it's always a bit scary to unveil to people. It's a bit naked in a way. And I don't know, I'm thankful. I am.
Well, you're opening your soul, aren't you? And put yourself on the top of the wall, wait to see which way people are going to push you, But your relationship with Peaceville, I mean, that looks good. They're still giving you the creative freedom, plus the support that you need, yeah?
Peaceville has never, ever tried to put fingers into my stew at all. I'm free to do whatever I want. They take they take my artwork, they take my music, my sound, everything, and I'm really thankful to Peaceville for that, and Snapper Music. I remember before signing to Peaceville, I was in touch with a couple of other big labels, and they were the precise opposite of that. I showed them my then, what was it, second album or demos for the third one, and they were like, "Oh, you need to change this, and you need to polish up the sound, and you need to do this and that." And I was like, I don't know if this tastes right for me or feels right. And luckily, Peaceville came along, and I think that is a wise choice to go with them for my sake. And now we've been going for many years. They have my entire catalog now, and we are talking about re-signing a new contract now. So there will be more Mork in the future too.
Oh, no, that's good. That's really good to hear. You've got some festival dates lined up. You're playing Norway on Saturday, aren't you?
Yeah.
Are you incorporating any synth parts into the live set?
I don't know. When is this interview going to come out?
Okay. After Saturday then.
After Saturday, yeah.
If that's what you'd rather happen, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't want to spoil too much, but the thing is that there will be no synth. We have actually rocked it up, so the synth parts will be done by guitar. So
Okay.
we're still a four-piece rock and roll band, but the new songs feel good. We are fit for them, you know, and they feels good in our fingers and everything. So really looking forward to play them live, you know. It's always a bit strange starting to rehearse a new song because you never know how it feels, you know, in the rehearsal room. And there's a couple of tracks over the years that we started. We just imagined that okay, this will be a live track, and then we rehearsed it a couple of times, and it feels like shit. And we have never touched it since. You know, you never know which way it will go. You know.
Well, no, I mean, I was wondering that, yeah, because obviously you're relying on other people picking up on your inspirations and your tracks, aren't you? Yeah, and kind of almost their interpretation of it, yeah. So,
Absolutely.
And one really important question now: any plans to play some dates in the UK?
I hopefully some promoters will hear this interview and book us. We don't have an active booking agent, so we are basically booking whatever comes our way, if you know what I mean. So if they get in touch, we will absolutely negotiate and answer them.
Okay.
So I would love to come back to the UK. We've been there way too little. I think we played UK. We played London 2 times, and we played the Damnation Festival. And I think that's about it, you know. So that's not enough. We need to go back, and it's the home of Peaceville too. So we should be there.
We'll stick that in the first paragraph then. Jules says, yeah, you've established a pattern of releasing an EP between studio releases. So she's desperate to know if there's any leftover tracks from Dypet as there were from Kate Draylen, or would that be revealing too much?
No, I can tell you that I suppose you are aware of the new Peaceville compilation that came out.
No, I'm not.
The title of it escapes me right now. Is it under the sign of the Sacred Star or something?
Right,
it's
okay.
A Peaceville double CD and single vinyl compilation of all the black metal stuff Peaceville has released over the years, including Mork and newer stuff. Excellent company for me to be in. I'm really honored and humbled by that. On that compilation is actually a leftover track from Dypet, and that compilation came out when was it? Late last year, I think, or something. So if your listeners are really hardcore, they can pick up that compilation to listen to at least one track that is not on the album. And usually I produce a bit too much to fit a regular vinyl release. So if I get my way, there will be a new EP as well.
Cool. Oh, she'll be happy. She'll be happy. Look, we love Dypet MetalTalk. We wish you the very best success. Any message for the fans?
Hope to see you in Britain soon, or in the entire of the UK. Love the country. I'm a big fan of the pub culture, you know, so really love the UK and the people, of course.
Great. Get over there. We'll see you at the bar for a pint then, yeah?
We should.
Thomas Eriksen, thank you so much for your time. And we really hope to see you on the road soon. And thank you so much. Good luck for Saturday.
Thank you very much, man. Awesome.